My name is Luana. My father, who's an animator as well, grew up during the time of Giant Robo and Johnny Go and his Flying Robot. And when I was a baby, would tell me the story of a little boy whose best friend was a robot who sacrificed himself, this kind of thing. So when Iron Giant came out when I was 9 years old, it was like all of my bedtime stories coming true to me, and it was amazing. So that movie is like a totem for my relationship with my father.
That is wonderful.
What for you is the most meaningful aspect of the story of Hogarth and Iron Giant? What is most meaningful to you about that story?
What's really meaningful to me is that, I lost my dad when I was very young. And so, like Hogarth, of course, was a very similar figure to me, so I could see myself in him. And so I completely understand. Like, for instance, I'll tell you, when I was 10 years old, my daydreams, for instance, would be, having lost my dad, recently at that time, would be that, I would sleep at night, and fall asleep, and I dream there would be a knock on my window, and it would be either Batman or Superman, right? And it would be like my super dad, and I would become friends with them, and of course I read the book, so I would say, hey man, just watch out for the Joker, he's doing this thing, And then I had this fantasy that, then they would become my friends, and they would come with me to school for show and tell, hey, it's my friend, career day, Superman, And so, the Iron Giant, of course, is the expression of that fantasy, so of course I could relate completely, but also the movie was made at a time where my son was 9 years old, which was also the age of Hogarth. So, again, going back to truthfulness in performance, I feel like I was able to not think of it as, hey, it's a drawing, how do I make that drawing look good, but more like thinking trying to connect to this experience of seeing him every day and how he would go about things, especially when you try to be sneaky around stuff, and it's just trying to get that performance. Like I remember, around that time, one day I come home and my son who's 9, Hogarth's age, is like, hey, how do you spell homework pass? Yeah, so just trying to get that in the performance, and this is what you bring it from life. And try to stay true to just shared humanity,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I was just wondering, so within the last couple of years, there's a special collector, or not collector's edition, but just a special edition of the DVD Blu-ray, the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is that the most complete version of the movie? There's going to be, was there any material that didn't make it? Or?
No. So if you watch that's a great question. If you watch the Blu-ray, you'll see 2 sequences that were animated at Duncan Studio in Pasadena that are, one of them is the sequence dreaming, like he's, when he dreams about his planet and stuff. And so those are sequences that were storyboarded at the time, but that Brad wanted in, but the studio wouldn't give any more money to do it because, again, they didn't care about the movie. So they stayed as storyboard sequences, for the longest time. And for the re-release in theaters a couple of years ago, then those sequences were fully produced. But that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah, there's nothing else in the vaults that,
Hey Stephen.
Hi.
Just want to let you know I'm a big fan of your work.
Oh, thank you.
I'm also a big fan of the robots.
Cool.
So I just wanted to know what inspired you in the character design of the Iron Giant. What did you base it off of when you were designing it?
So I have to say I did not design the Iron Giant. The person who designed the robot himself, I did work on. So when we were early at the beginning, I did a bunch of viz dev on creating the townspeople, the general, that kind of stuff, which I kind of explored in a bunch of different style. And I went all to Tony Fucilli, who then redrew them in the style that became the style of the movie. So Tony's style is really what is the style of the human characters in the movie. And Joe Johnston, who you may know as a great director of The Rocketeers, Captain America, all that stuff, is the one who designed the giant itself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's it going?
Hey man, good.
Awesome. So I have a couple questions. The first one regarding how involved were you into choosing Vin Diesel as the voice of the Giant? And, and once you did that, if you were part of that decision-making process, did you have to tailor the way you animated the Giant in order to fit his like very particular voice?
Right. So I had nothing to do with casting on the movie. So I was not part of the decision process of casting Vin in it. What I can tell you from being there, though, is that this was at the time where Vin Diesel was just, he had been cast in Private Ryan, which they had just done shooting but was not out yet. So they felt like, hey, he's the new guy, looking for more stuff for him and stuff like that. And so that's how he ended up, I think, in Giant. And but I was not part. I never met him. I was not part of the process. However, the way we do animation, for the second part of your question, the way we do feature animation is that you record the vocal performance first. And then the animators work off of those tracks because you're trying to work, of course, sync up, so that, but also to add something to the performance and work in conjunction to the voice talent, not just to mimic exactly what they say, just like whenever the voice goes up or down, you're trying not your animation just do the same thing because the voice is already doing that. So maybe, as you know, in acting, it's always the tension between text and subtext. It's always the tension between body language and what people say. So it's very interesting when you're animating from a performance is to hear what the voice is saying and try to understand as you're going to be providing the physicality of it, because it's just this floating voice, to know when the subtext is lined up with the text, and then you really, in a way, supporting the thing, or when the person's saying one thing, but really, for whatever reason, maybe they're trying to cover their emotion, maybe they're lying, whatever, is trying to say something else, and then your visuals have to convey, just like you're like, I don't really like you, but your body language says something else, So it's about trying to understand the performance and complete it in providing a subtext and a physicality to it. Does it make sense?
Yes, with a quick turnaround schedule of 9 months, was there anything that you were able to add to it to keep everything on track, to keep it quick? What techniques did you use in there that sort of helped move things along that quickly?
So